Today I'm gonna share 5 tips with the secret to lose belly fat. Tip number 5, you don't need to do cardio. Yes, you heard right, you don't need to do cardio. And before I go in more detail, my name is Rafael Victoria. I am a qualified fat loss coach. I had one-on-one clients here in Auckland and group fitness sessions, as well as online clients all over the world. If you're sick and tired of trying and failing on your own and you want to join my program, look at the link in the description below the video. And don't get me wrong, cardio is great for your health. It's gonna bring incredible health benefits. It's gonna decrease your blood pressure, among other things. It's gonna help you live longer, but you don't need to do cardio to lose fat. Cardio will definitely help you to build more mitochondria, which means you can burn more fat throughout the day, and that's a good thing. In short, cardio is gonna help you burn more fat, and by doing cardio, it can help with your fat loss. If instead of focusing on spending time on a treadmill or running outside the gym, if you can just track your steps and do anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 steps, then cardio is not needed for fat loss. And here is a thing a lot of people don't know, but if you run 5K or if you walk 5K, the calories you burn are pretty much the same. It sounds like a bit crazy, I know, like it's way more effort to run, but the distance is still the same. And the effort in calories is gonna be very, very similar. Then you can glue those two pieces of information together. You know that running and walking for the same distance means the same thing. And you know that 7 to 10,000 steps is great for your health. So if you are an active person, you don't need to worry about walking on a treadmill or even running. However, if you sit long hours in the office or you just watch TV all day long, that means you're not active and therefore you actually need to jump on a treadmill or do some sort of cardio exercise to hit your target step goal. And this is a very good information you need to know. If all you want to do to lose fat is cardio, then it's not a great tool. This study I'm gonna share in the description compared different ways to lose fat, and cardio was by far the worst one. Cardio was just better than doing nothing. And when they do cardio controlling the diet, they lose pretty much the same as the ones that were not doing cardio. So I'm just talking about cardio for fat loss. It's not about health. It's not about living longer. I'm just comparing how much fat you lose with cardio alone. So please don't give me shit about that. That's science, not opinion. Number 4, you don't need to eat as little as possible, and you surely don't need restrictive diets. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons why people can never lose their belly fat. If you've been following me, you know that to lose fat, you need to be on a calorie deficit. Every human in the history of humankind that lost fat, they were in a calorie deficit. What's a calorie deficit? That's when you create a negative energy balance. In other words, that's when you eat less calories than you burn, or when you burn more calories than you eat. And the reason is simple. Food is fuel for your body. Fuel is energy. You need energy to move. You need energy to breathe. You need energy to speak. You need energy to blink, for your heart to pump, and for a lot of chemical reactions that happens every second in your body. If you don't give enough energy to your body doesn't just shut down. Your body is gonna find energy somewhere, and then it's gonna tap in your stored fat, in your belly, in your arm fat, in your hip fat, to then get energy to do all those reactions needed for you to be alive. But here is the thing, eating less calories don't necessarily mean eating as little as possible. As an example, I could have 3 toasts with 3 eggs on top and still have less calories than 2 toasts with butter. So I'm eating more food with less calories. Here I'm eating very little and not making progress. So the goal is to eat less calories, not less food. The goal is not to eat small portions with a lot of calories. The goal is to eat big portions with very little calories. That way you stay full, you don't get hungry, you're more likely to follow your diet. And when it comes to restrictive diets, it's important for you to remember that if you cut the things you like out of your life, you're probably going to be able to follow the diet only for a couple weeks or perhaps for a couple months. But as soon as you reach your goal, you're going to stop. And that's the problem, because from the moment you stop, you're going to get back to those old habits that gave you the extra weight that you wanted to lose in the first place. So whatever you decide to do in order to lose fat is going to be the same things you're going to keep doing once you lose the fat. So it's not about a 21-day challenge, about a 90-day challenge. It's about a lifestyle that you're gonna carry on with you. Number 3 is a tip that certainly is going to help you not being hungry. And if you're not hungry, you're more likely to follow your calorie deficit. And if you follow your calorie deficit, yes, you're going to lose fat in these places that you don't want. But before giving you the tip, make sure you follow, subscribe, so you always get my new education about fat loss. Tip number 3 has nothing to do with fitness or diet, but definitely impacts your results. Because if you don't have good sleep because you didn't sleep enough hours or because you didn't have good quality, that will going to impact your appetite, and that's gonna make you eat around 300 to 500 calories extra on the next day. And maybe it doesn't sound like much for you, but if you're eating extra 500 calories every single day, that means you're gaining half a kilo of fat every single week. Please remember the energy balance. If you eat more calories than you consume, you're going to store fat. And 500 calories a day is a total of 3,500 calories, giving you half a kilo of fat. When we sleep, we have a few chemical reactions happening in our brain and they regulate our hormones. Without getting too technical, we have one hormone that makes us feel full and you have another hormone that makes us feel hungry. When you don't balance them, you're gonna feel hungry all the time and you're never gonna feel full. We also have a part of our brain that controls our impulses, and when you don't sleep well, you pretty much lose the brake of your impulses. In other words, it gets super hard to say no to your Oreo, to your chips, to your chocolate, or whatever floats your boat. And I'm not even talking about other questions such as if you sleep well, you have more energy. If you have more energy, you're more likely to do your steps, probably hit the gym and things like that. Also, if you sleep well, you recover from whatever exercise you've done, so sleeping is super ultra important. And as a bonus, I'm gonna give you a few tips. You need to sleep at least 7 hours per night. 1 hour before going to bed, no screens, no TV, no phones. Have your last big meal of the day at least 3 hours before going to bed, or if it's a light meal, 2 hours before going to bed. And if you are that person that wakes up just to pee during the night, maybe stop drinking about 2 hours before sleep and see if that works for you. Tip number 2 is resistance training, and that's not necessarily going to the gym. That could be a body weight workout done in your living room. Because if you do resistance training, you burn more calories. When you do resistance training, your muscle needs about 2 to 3 days to recover, which again makes you burn more calories. And number 3, if you build more muscle, even when you're sitting watching TV or watching videos like this, you also burn more calories. Resistance training is just the way of increasing your calorie burn over 24 hours even when you are sleeping. And just as an example, you can look at this before and after photo. I'm showing 2 photos where I am 87 kilos in both, but with a completely different body structure. So right now I have way more muscle mass than I had on my before photo, which means that now I also eat way more than I was eating at that time, but that time I was only gaining fat, while at this time I'm getting leaner. And no, building muscle doesn't burn a lot of calories, but that little extra hour after hour, day after day, year after year makes a very big difference in the long term. And remember, whatever you're doing right now to lose fat, they are habits for life. And to be fair, if you just lose fat and don't focus on building muscle, you're gonna end up looking skinny fat, and most people don't really like that. When clients start work with me and they want a certain body, they're usually looking at very toned bodies that actually have good amount of muscle. And it's not just about doing resistance training. You need the right volume and the right intensity to have results. If you have no idea where to start, the link on my description is where you can apply to work with me. And number 1, this is one of the most important tips. And if you came this far, congratulations, because you are about to change your life. Whenever you look at the food you eat, you need to understand what macros are. Our macros are carbohydrates, fats, protein, and alcohol. I'm not going to talk about alcohol because alcohol has literally no benefits for your life and alcohol is literally poison. However, we need all the other 3 macronutrients. We need protein, we all need protein, and that's what I'm going to talk about on tip number 1. But we also need fats and carbs. If you're eating the right calories to reach your goal, it doesn't matter if you go high carb, low fat, or if you go low fat, high carb. But none of this is going to work if you don't eat enough protein. So what is protein? Chicken, fish, soy, tofu, tempeh, eggs, they are all good sources of protein. So carbohydrates, for example, if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, within 30 minutes, 1 hour later, you're hungry again, which is gonna lead you to eat a lot one more time. Fats are a little bit more satiating, but again, our body is not very good at regulating, and it's kinda easy to overeat on fat too. However, protein is something that makes us very full and that also takes calories for us to digest. And it's important to say here that most people undereat protein. A very easy tip for you to make sure you eat enough protein is for every big meal you have 30 to 50% of your plate in a protein source, and eat protein in every single meal, snacks included. But if you want to be more technical about that, you need 2 grams of protein per each kilo of your body. So in my example, I'm 87 kilos and I need 170 grams of protein a day. And no, it doesn't mean I need 170 grams of chicken. I need 170 grams of protein. And just for you to understand, if I get 100 grams of chicken, I have about 30 grams of protein per 100 grams of chicken. So yes, you need to eat way more protein than you were thinking. And because you need to look at all macronutrients, make sure when you're looking at your protein sources, you get lean protein sources. They are lower in calorie, they have higher volume, and they're gonna help you with your fat loss. Congratulations in coming this far. That shows that you are different and you're more likely to have results. However, just watching this video is not gonna change your life unless you apply what you learned today. And when you're applying this, it's not just about doing this from Monday to Thursday, it's actually doing every single day, weekends included. And if you haven't yet liked or shared this, make sure you do that so I can help way more people like you. If you have questions, make sure you drop in the comments because that could be my next fat loss piece of content. And as always, thanks for watching. See you soon.